Hey everyone, what up? Mad Kaiser here. With Star Ocean and Divine Force just around the corner, and the series is now being over 25 years old, well, 26 to be precise, as well as not only my Star Ocean videos being popular, I decided to celebrate the latest entry's release by doing a retrospective of the series' past entries, since I did one for Tales last year to celebrate for Rise and the 25th anniversary. Though Star Ocean overall has far less games than the Tales series, it does at least give me an opportunity to cover them all. And like before, I'll only cover the mainline entries, so no spin-offs like Blue Sphere, and no mobile titles like Amnesis. So buckle up, prepare for liftoff, and enjoy the Star Ocean retrospective by me. The original Star Ocean was launched for the Super Famicom in 1996, made by Tri-Ace, which had consisted of former Wolf Team members from Telnet Japan, which have left that studio after the launch of Tales of Fantasia a year prior to this game's release, due to conflicts and opposing ideas, as well as being published by Enix. This game was set predominantly in space, and had an emphasis on things like player choice, especially when choosing your party members, as well as trying to deepen the story, character relationships, and history with a very special interaction mechanic. The story involves the protagonist, Roderick Ference, and his two friends who are searching for the cure that will help, remove a new disease that has infected the home planet Roic, with turning their people into stone. With them coming into contact with two crew members of a spacefaring federation known as the Earth Federation, which they have been locked in war with a galactic power that's been responsible for inflicting that said disease. Using advanced technologies and time travel, the group attempts to uncover the cause of the war and to find a cure for their planet. Similar to the Tales series, Star Ocean features a real-time action battle system, with its usage of special arts and symbology at a cost of MP. The game would introduce many features that would become a staple of the series, like optional recruitable party members, skill points, where every time your characters level up, you can spend on having your characters learn different types of skills for battle or synthesis, and upgrade them. Item creation, where you can have your characters create items using materials and based on character strengths on their given specialty level. Private actions, being that special interaction mechanic, where small cutscenes will occur when going through towns, where you can talk to your party members to learn more about them, develop them further, and raise their affinity, as well as get special endings based for each one of them. While it did appear in North American video game magazine Nintendo Power in 1996, by then Enix of America had ceased to publish this game to the West, mainly due to poor sales of the game in Japan, as well as Nintendo has already been passed on publishing Tales of Fantasia the year before. Star Ocean thus never saw a release in the West. However, the game was unofficially translated into English by Dijap Translations, who created a patch that made the game fully playable in English via emulation, and was released as Star Ocean Fantastic Space Odyssey. In 2007, Star Ocean would get a enhanced remake for the PlayStation Portable called Star Ocean First Departure, which would not only use the same engine that the remake of the second story would use, but also have several changes, like in additional party members like Eris, Durand, and the recurring character Welch Vineyard, as well as new voice acting which included an English dub, which yes also has an official localization, as well as new anime cutscenes by Production IG, new character portraits by Katsumi Inami, new additions to the story, as well as linking special attacks to make combos and increase the amount of damage, being now more possible. The MP cost of certain special arts were changed, along with the level requirement to be learned. There was also the introduction to the mastery system, also known as proficiency, as well as having remastered tracks of the original game by the series' main composer, as well for the Tale series, Motoi Sakuraba. This remake would then be remastered for both PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch in 2019. While this game in release order, this game is mainly the first Star Ocean game, but chronologically, this game is actually the second Star Ocean game, being set in SD 342 and 42. Star Ocean The Second Story was the second mainline entry in the series, released now for the PlayStation 1 in 1998, and then later worldwide for America in 1999 and Europe in 2000. This game takes place 20 years after the events of the first game and introduces a dual campaign based on the two main protagonists, a mechanic that will later return for the newest entry. The story centers around a young man named Claude Kenny, a cadet from a spacefaring Earth organization who becomes stranded on an underdeveloped medieval-level planet. There he meets Rena Lanford as well as several companions, and together they must stop a plot from an evil organization that spans multiple worlds before finding his way home. The split story allows you to view it from the perspective of either Claude or Rena, and it affects certain scenes that are only referred to in one path but are fully shown in the other, as well as determine whether or not certain characters can be permanently added to the traveling party. Many of the core mechanics from the first game make a return, but with a couple of alterations for this one, as well as overall improvements over its predecessor. This game was more of a commercial success, with it selling about 1.094 million copies worldwide. It would also receive a manga series, drama CDs, and later an anime adaptation in 2001 called Star Ocean EX by Studio Dean. Like with the first game, it would also get a remake for the PlayStation Portable in 2008 and 2009 called Star Ocean Second Evolution. As such, it would feature a ton of upgrades like First Departure, as well as some quality of life improvements, some which are way higher for me to even explain in great detail. It would then get ported to the PS3, 4, and Vita in 2015, but only in Japan. As of right now, Second Evolution hasn't come to the West on more modern platforms, despite it already being localized for the PlayStation Portable and its predecessor being more accessible. Star Ocean is regarded by many to be a fan favorite and lauded as the best entry in the series, and even regarded as one of the best JRPGs to exist. In this timeline, this game sits as the third title at SD 366. Star Ocean Till the End of Time is the third entry in the series. In release order, that is. It was released for the PlayStation 2 in 2003 for Japan, and then later in 2004 it will get a director's cut worldwide, as well as now being published by the merger that is Square Enix, as well as Ubisoft, with that handling both the European and Australian versions of its release. The game has now jumped its presentation to 3D, with it also being able to explore multiple worlds, even if the number of how many isn't that large. The story focuses on Fate Linegold, who spends on a family vacation with his parents and his childhood friend Sophia Estede. Everything seems fairly normal until the galactic faction known as the Vendini invade the planet, with their intentions unknown, that causes Fate to be separated from his friends and family, and him landing on an underdeveloped planet called the Vanguard Free. And he meets allies on his journey, as the journey itself will not only reveal a few truths about himself, but also the origin of their very universe. The main message of this game is trust, and it's very heavily inspired by the likes of Star Trek. The battle system remains similar to the first two games, but more of a 3D space, sticking to 3 party members on screen now rather than 4, and featuring changes like if characters lose HP or MP, they die, as well as having a fury gauge, which decreases depending on your actions during combat, like attacks, arts, using items, but it can recharge if you remain at a standstill, which does give a little bit strategy on it. This game also introduces the bonus battle gauge, which increases rewards like fall, AXP, and item drops, as well as recovery rate, all being increased depending on the type of attack you use, and the gauge can be increased by successfully attacking enemies. But if the party escapes, dies, or takes a critical hit, the gauge is reduced. As briefly mentioned, this game got a director's cut in 2004 on the same platform, which featured extra content that was omitted from the base game, like new characters, new dungeons, as well as a multiplayer mode that included versus, where you against a second player or against a computer can fight each other. Up to 2 human players could compete, either against each other or against another character controlled by the computer. Another addition was the use of battle trophies, which may be acquired by completing various challenges in combat. For example, a player can receive a battle trophy for winning a battle in under 30 seconds, or for defeating a boss without receiving any damage. Earning battle trophies unlocks bonus options, such as harder difficulty levels, alternate costumes, and a sound test. This game would later get ported to PlayStation 4 worldwide in 2017. Star Ocean 3 sold around about 1.3 million copies worldwide, combined from both versions. While its original release in Japan was heavily criticized, its director's cut was more well received, even regarded as one of the best RPGs from the PS2. It's among another fan favorite from the Star Ocean fanbase, though it has gained a bit more controversy nowadays, especially due to an infamous twist in the game's story. As such, despite this game being the third mainline entry, in the timeline, it's actually set in the very far future of SD772, and as of now, no other game in the series has taken place after the events of Star Ocean 3. Star Ocean: The Last Hope is the 4th mainline game in the series, being released first on the Xbox 360 in 2009, and then a year later for the PS3, with an updated version called International. This is also the first Star Ocean game to not only be released on an Xbox console, but also the first game to be released on an HD console, as releasing JRPGs on the Xbox 360, whether exclusively or side by side with the PS3, was quite the wave, especially from Bandai Namco, Mistwalker, Sega, and Square Enix, and the ones from Tri-Ace were no exception either. This game ran on a more improved engine that Infinite Undiscovery had, and expanded upon the ideas of Star Ocean 3 even further, with having the will to explore through multiple planets at your will using the colonists. This game is actually a prequel to the first Star Ocean, as the story takes place when Earth has become ravaged after the years of World War III, which led to becoming uninhabitable So, the surviving population of humanity collaborated and formed the Universal Science and Technology and Mission, with them later creating the Space Reconnaissance Force, SRF for short, which was a project given a mission to travel into space to find a new planet for humanity to inhabit. And this centered around the two main characters, Edge Maverick and Rami Seinoji, being SRF officers and childhood friends, piloting the colonists till they crash on a planet known as Eos with dangerous wildlife, and along the way they encounter allies through numerous planets, while also discovering a mysterious powerful force known as the Grigori, who threatens the universe's existence. The core gameplay is similar to past entries, but with some new changes, like the real-time member change, where you can switch active party members for reserve ones in battle. The others involve jumping, as well as the addition of chain combos, where you can chain one art to form another combo, as well as rush mode, where both players and enemies have a gauge that increases by inflicting damage or taking damage, or even charging, and then, when it's activated, the user attacks become stronger, enemy cost is reduced, and they get less staggered, so basically super armor. And if you activate Rush and one of your arts at the same time, it will allow you to perform a Rush combo, where you and your party member can do one full combo using their respective arts, as long as the user has free and taps the respective button at the right time. This game also introduces Blindside, which, just like before, the latest entry will also have, where characters can evade enemy attacks and then counter them, basically a different take from a perfect dodge. The bonus gauge from free returns, but it has taken now a different form of shards, though the same effects apply as well, as I have things like surprise attacks and multi-enemy finishes. This game would also have a thing called the Battle Enhancement Attribute Type, BEAT for short, which allows to change the party member's fighting style, and they unlock action upgrades when the system is leveled up. Only other changes are that the party member roster is a bit more fixed, and you have your private actions more so on the ship. Like before, this game got an international version for the PS3, which alleviated the disc problem that the 360 version had, as well as having dual audio and new character portraits, once again done by Katsumi Anami, as well as new music. Then, in 2017, this game got a 4K and Full HD remaster for PlayStation 4 and PC via Steam, which had many graphical settings and quality of life improvements. This also makes it the first Star Ocean game to also come to PC. While sadly the remaster skipped Xbox, the base 360 version did become backwards compatible with the Xbox One and Series. This game was one of the best-selling JRPGs for the Xbox 360, right up there with Tales of Vesperia and Blue Dragon. As a total, the game sold around 450,000 units, which is nearly 500,000. But however, reception of this game was more mixed, with many praising the combat, music and planet exploration, while others criticized the story and characters. As said before, this game is a prequel to Star Ocean 1, as it sits as the first game chronologically at SD10. Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness is the fifth major installment in the series, released for the PlayStation 3 exclusively in Japan, and then worldwide for the PlayStation 4 in 2016. This not only makes it the last Star Ocean game to be for PlayStation 3, but also the first for PlayStation 4. The game was on a smaller scale compared to Lost Hope, as the story focuses more on the struggle of Fate Creed 4, an undeveloped planet that's currently on the brink of conflict from two spacefaring factions, Brasilia and Tricore, with the main protagonist Fidel Camus, as well as his friend Mickey Sylvester, being caught in the chaos and suffering too many attacks on their village. So they leave and request aid from the Brazilian army, in which Fidel's father holds an important position. But however, their request is denied as no men can be spared, so they return back to the village, only to find the mysterious Aurelia, who's an emotionless girl and suffers from amnesia. The battle system remains similar to past entries, but has made some changes, like being able to seamlessly transition through battles, which also includes a lot of the game's storytelling cutscenes to be a bit more interactive and dynamic, and also in real time. Another is having 7 Prime members on screen and being able to switch control of them. If Prime members would get captured by enemies during these events, their affection will change, and any not controlled by the player will have their AI detected by their roles, which is a new take on the tactic system. As with that system, it can be improved by battle or using SP, and new roles can be learned through quests or even private actions. Item creation makes a return in Integrity and Faithlessness, and is performed in the pause menu rather than workshops or ships. Item creation and private actions obviously, make a return, and the former has a new branch, free artifact, that being just regular item creation, synthesis, and augmentation. The synthesis is a new addition, allowing the player to deconstruct any item to create a different random item based on the quality and impurity ratings. However, the augmentation system is more similar to the synthesis feature from past installments, and nearly identical to the one out of Last Hope. This game was planned to have a PC release, but unfortunately it was difficult for them to implement, and for players to play it without a controller, so they decided to can it. This game sold around about 135,000 copies in Japan, and while there's no accurate number on how many it sold worldwide, it's certain that sales expectation wise, Star Ocean 5 did not meet them, even as series producer Shuichi Kobayashi expected. That, and in terms of reviews, Integrity and Faithlessness got the lowest review scores out of all the mainline entries, and even some fans deem it to be the worst game in the series, with many pointing out that it felt like the game had no budget, or was even rushed alongside the supposed short runtime. In the timeline, Star Ocean is set at SD 537, taking place after Star Ocean 2 and before Star Ocean 6 and Star Ocean 3. With all the past Star Ocean games now covered, it's time for us to get ready for what Star Ocean 6 The Divine Force will bring into the series this week, and I for sure am excited about that. Thank you all for watching this retrospective. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I definitely had a good time making it, so I hope all the Star Ocean fans out there, whether old or new, have enjoyed this and are looking forward to Divine Force. Anyway, thanks for watching, so punch that like button, drop down a comment, and hit that subscribe button if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Mad Kaiser, out.